Just because somebody is borderline personality disorder doesn't mean that they don't have the same feelings and experiences as we do. People with BPD can have a heightened emotional response to things. So sometimes people say borderlines are nothing but emotion, meaning that is what's at the forefront. So just because they are borderline doesn't mean that they don't feel things like jealousy. They may struggle to name it, which is why I think it's important to teach young children emotional intelligence. Whether you're borderline or not, we all need to be taught that this day and age when, for example, narcissism is at its core. But basically, it's important to understand that they may have emotions and we're going to like jealousy. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today is BPD, competitive jealousy. And you may have noticed this in your romantic relationships with them or just in regular everyday situations for which you may have a borderline in your life. And I want to explore why they may have this as an issue and why it's important for us to discuss it. So, always like to put a disclaimer out there because a lot of people are very defensive of borderlines, and that's okay. You know, they need somebody who is advocating for them and protecting them because more than likely they went through some things that are tougher than what most people have to go through. And yes, that's unfair. At the same time, I remember working with a borderline who told me, if you don't hold these kids accountable, it's going to be a problem for them later, borderline or not. And she was saying if anybody has a toxic way of doing things, she said, it's me. But she said, please do not just let a kid off the hook because you know they've had a turbulent past, you know what they've been through. So to just let them have any type of erratic behavior, she just told me that is not healing. That is not love. That is not caring. So I'm saying from the point of view of love and care, I think it's important for us to give borderlines what they need and not necessarily what they want. Because what they want will drive them absolutely crazy and will actually drive them to act out more and not less. So in that case, we have to be honest on these videos while at the same time knowing that there's no way I would take my time to do videos like this, because I've had people in the comments before to get defensive, but if I didn't care, there's no way I would spend my time trying to help people who have BPD. So let's talk about a touchy subject. Y'all get jealous and competitive sometimes, just like everybody else. But the reasoning and rationale might be different. So I will say that there was a lady that I worked with who I really believed had BPD. I remember one of our bosses left, and while people were reasonably sad, she was falling completely apart. Like people were having to hold her up. It was just an extreme reaction. And people were very compassionate. They were giving her hugs. They were trying to help her. This particular person, I felt like didn't like me. I remember her rolling her eyes at me. I would always say good morning or hello, and she would say hello. And I always felt like she didn't like me. I don't know why, but I would still say good morning or hello, just like I would to anybody else until one day she rolled her eyes and said hello. And I thought, she's always hugging people in front of me. She's always making sure that she speaks to people in front of me. But if I don't speak to her, she's not speaking to me. And she's going to walk by me and not say anything. But she's going to make a huge effort to speak to people in front of me so that I know that she's leaving me out. Now, you might think, oh, you're calling her a borderline because she doesn't like you. No, there's multiple reasons why I think she is a borderline. And let me just say this, just being objective about the whole thing, she was phenomenal at what she did. She was a very high functioning borderline. She was very competent, hardworking, did a great job. I think she loved attention from people. I think she loved being like like jokester, silly, like playfully fun. She was somebody that a lot of people really liked. So if I were just calling her a borderline because she doesn't like you, no, I'm trying to be completely fair about it. But I definitely saw some red flags there. So, yeah, so the other thing she would do is anytime I was talking to the boss, anytime she would run up and interrupt every single time, 100% of the time she would do that. She didn't care. She would move in front of me and start talking to him. And I just thought, wow, if I could make a t-shirt, it would say, try to hide your jealousy. Try to hide your jealousy. And I know that might sound defensive, but I would say that anybody who has experienced people being jealous of them or envious or showing it to that degree, they should wear that t-shirt too. Try to hide your jealousy. My thing is, and this is borderline or not borderline, this is everybody in general. If you're jealous of somebody, try to hide it. Why do you show it? I always think that's fascinating, that people can be so jealous that pride goes out the window. If I was jealous of somebody, I would do everything I could to not show it because I wouldn't want that satisfaction. I have a friend who I think is really pretty, sophisticated. She would wear heels to work, and there would be people who would be so jealous of her because we used to work together. And she told me one day, she said, I have to tell you the truth. She said, I love it. I love it. I witnessed somebody going after her for no reason. I'm talking following behind her, saying nasty things and just being rude. And it was just so obvious. Like, okay, this lady is one of the sweetest, kindest people. Doesn't mean that everybody has to like her or want to be her friend because she's sweet and nice. But she was just very respectful, very high level of social emotional skills. So to go after her was just clear envy and jealousy. Why would you give somebody that satisfaction? And she knew it. And so one day after we really got to know each other, because we talked about how mean some people were to her, she didn't like the meanness, but she loved the kind of attention, like, and she said, so I'll just walk by them and click my heels even more because it's validating. Like, you think I'm beautiful. You think I'm sexy. You wish you could be me. I mean, she was like, it's a compliment. Like, do I want to be that person's friend? No. Do I like that they're being mean to me? No. But when people say things like, I would never have gotten a car like that because I just think that car is for old people. Why would you need to say things like that? Those kind of comments show everybody that you're jealous. Even a child would know that. So what I'm saying is, don't show your jealousy. Be a little bit more confident than that. Have more pride than that. But anyway, back to the story. So yeah, this lady, in anytime, anytime. And I would just move out of the way. You know, some people might say, well, you should have told her. You should have confronted her. You should have told her, excuse me. Excuse me, I'm talking to him right now. I just thought, girl, if I wanted him, I could have him. That's me being a little arrogant, yes, because it might not be true. But I just thought, okay, are you interested in him? You can have him. If you really want him, it's okay with me. And you can't keep me from talking to him. I could talk to him any time of the day. When you're not around, I will talk to him. So jumping in front of me every time he talks to me, it's that's not gonna be effective. That's not gonna keep me from bonding with him. But that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to block and keep me from connecting with him, but that's not gonna work. Not only that, sometimes you have to move out of people's way. And this goes for borderlines too. Like borderlines, if you have a narcissist that's doing things or trying to humiliate you, move out of their way. Let it show who they are. Let everyone see who they really are. And so I know the boss recognized this. He's not stupid. He knows that anytime we're talking and that lady walks by, she's going to interrupt every single time. Now, let's say that this lady is a borderline. Which, do I know for sure she's a borderline? No, but there are other things. And that's the other reason why I didn't let some of the behavior get to me, is because I suspect she's a borderline. And I know there's some level of acting out. And I don't take it totally personally because I understand a lot about how it works. So it's not worth it. She's trying to cope. So it didn't bother me as much as it might bother someone else who didn't understand some of the dynamics. So yes, I did let some things go and I continued to help her. Like there would be times when she would come to me and need some help. I objectively helped her the best that I could because I want to be a good person and I want to model that. You know, at a certain point, let's just be mature. Let's put some things aside. At the same time, I also took that as a clue, and you guys can do this too, that anybody who's doing that is a red flag. You don't want to be that person's friend. You don't want to get close enough to become friends with that person or to create an attachment or a bond with you. You want to keep your distance. That's a huge clue that you need to keep your distance. Because the other thing is, I do think she saw something in me. Why would you pursue? A lot of times people pursue rejection. When they feel like somebody is rejecting them, she could be testing me. She could be testing me to see if I do certain things to you, are you still going to accept me? That's a clue for her that, ooh, this is somebody that I want to bond with, because no matter how I treat her, she's going to always be there. Sometimes borderlines can test people before they become attached, but I didn't want to give her that because I can't handle, I don't want to handle somebody acting out with me, mistreating me, doing things that are uncomfortable. For me, my clue was, okay, I need to keep my distance as much as possible. And I'm going to respect her boundary. When she rolled her eyes at me, after that, I no longer spoke to her anymore because I'm going to take that as a clue. There's something that's annoying her about me. And so I'm going to take that and I'm going to run with it and I'm going to keep my distance. So that's a clue. That's something that we all need to consider. If somebody is treating you in a certain way, a lot of times we don't like rejection, so we move towards that to try to make that person like us and accept us. And sometimes that's not a good idea. That's a bad idea. So let's just break this down a little bit more because we're talking about competitive energy, which to me, she's showing competitive energy. Like I'm competing with you for this man's attention, which you don't have to be a borderline to do that, by the way. And of course, we know that, but I'm just being sensitive to the topic. But she's being competitive, borderline, and she's envious. I think she's envious of maybe the way people perceive me. I will say that I've received a lot of positive attention on that job. So I think maybe she may have felt like I'm the one getting the spotlight. Maybe she's used to getting a lot of the spotlight. So she sees that as a threat that she might lose the attention that she needs from people in order to feel okay. I think borderlines have favorite people. I think that boss is a favorite person for her. I think he really likes her. She really likes him. And she doesn't want to lose that. It's perceived as a threat. So jealousy or envy could be based on, I see you as a threat. I need this person. This is my special person. And I don't want him to forget about me or not want me or to be pushed to the side because of you. So this person is making me way more important than I should be. However, it's their defense mechanism going into play. I need this person, and I can tell that he's connecting with you, and I'm going to block it every time. I'm going to interfere every conversation that you have because I cannot afford for him to abandon me and latch on to you. I need him. I need him to feel okay. I need him to feel whole. I need him for direction and to feel okay about myself. And you, my friend, are posing a threat to this person that I need. So for me, he's just somebody that's a companion, somebody that I have respect for. But for her, it's much deeper than that. It's like her lifeline at work depends on it. And without that, she might start to act out. She might start to fall apart. She might start to fail or do poorly. So her dependency on this man is totally different from my connection with him. So does that make sense to you guys? So envy and competitiveness could be that histrionic need to be the center of attention. You know, at one point, and I don't know what the status of this is, they were going to try to take away the word histrionic in DSM-5s because they felt like that's just an automatic piece to borderlines, that they want to be the center of attention. That is the truth for some of them, but not all of them. Some of them don't want that type of attention. So, but some of them do. And I think this girl in particular has some histrionic traits with the borderline where it's, I need to be the center of attention and you pose as a threat to my attention that I'm getting. And you need that attention so that you can survive, because I am who I am when I am connected and hooked up to somebody else. And that's how borderlines function. They need unless they're a quiet borderline. And even quiet borderlines can have a favorite person. Not necessarily, but they do still need people in order to be okay to a certain degree. So let me know if that makes sense to you, or if it's as clear as mud, or if you can add something to this conversation. And by the way, I'm planning to do more. I would love to do more videos on BPD, because I want to help this community with the things that I know. So if there are topics or concerns or worries or things that you need help with as a BPD, or you have a loved one who's a BPD, please let me know what you want me to talk about. I know a lot about borderlines. I feel like I have family members who probably are. So I really feel like I can help you, but I need more topics. And so in that case, make sure you subscribe so that we can keep in touch with each other. And also, I've written some books that I think will be helpful. I wrote a book on narcissism, The Workplace NaRCISSiST. And I think it will help you understand narcissists better. I think sometimes borderlines can get hooked up with narcissists. I also wrote a book about love that helped me with some of my insecurities with love. And so I think it will help you to build confidence. So check it out. And I also love studying Myers-Briggs personality types. And for borderlines, there is a struggle with identity and the self. So you might want to read the 16 personality types and use it kind of as a therapy to help you figure out what your personality type might be. And you could even ask friends to help you to figure it out. So check those out. I'll put the link in the description box. And I sincerely appreciate you guys for hanging with me. I love it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.